everyone, my name is Grayson Hitchens, and I am an exercise science major at Georgia Southern University, and I'm specializing in occupational therapy. I want to be a child occupational therapist. I got into occupational therapy about 2 years ago when I volunteered at a summer camp at the local therapy center in Statesboro, Georgia, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I worked with kids from ages 2 to 6 on reaching their developmental goals. And while I was at this camp, I noticed that with these young kids, they're there to get their therapy done, but a lot of them didn't really want to participate. No matter how many fun things we did, we had to go above and beyond to make these kids want to participate and make them want to listen. Sometimes they would throw fits, sometimes they would just get up and leave, and we'd have to put them in the special chair with a seatbelt so they wouldn't get up and run away. We just had to go above and beyond to try and make these kids want to participate. So instead of doing that, instead of having to force the child to sit down and listen, why don't we come up with more fun ways, like for children to enjoy therapy and forget that they're even come to therapy and have fun and not be distracted and have fun while they're getting their therapy done and they don't even realize it. So I just want to be able to find ways to make therapy fun. So I'm proposing a couple of ideas that I think would be beneficial to making therapy fun. Some ways that I have experienced and some ways that I haven't, so I just want to share that with you guys today. If you don't know a lot about occupational therapy, basically what occupational therapists do, we work on the fine motor skills, we work with infants, we work with teenagers, we even work with adults. On some people who are injured, maybe some people just aren't developmentally where they need to be. Fine motor means that we work with our fingers and little movements. We work with people on opening doors, typing, writing, things like that. So usually it's for infants who aren't really reaching where they need to be or people who are injured. So that's kind of what that's about. And the American Occupational Therapy Association says that the core of occupational therapy is to promote participation, which we do. We want our patients to participate, be able to go out and participate in the world, and before we can do that, we need to get them to participate here first. And how do we do that with children? We let them play. The College of Occupational Therapy says that it is through play and leisure that learning happens and friendships are formed. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to let our children play and interact, and that's how we're going to get them to developmentally meet their goals and where they need to be. So I'm proposing, like I said, 3 different ideas that I think that we should try out or that I want to implement or that I've tried and not tried, broad range of things here, that I think would really increase children's therapy and make the children want to participate and want to have fun. So I'm going to pull out of my pocket here 3 things, and I will show you the picture and then I'll explain. Alright, so educational aspect. This is a child writing. When younger children come to occupational therapy wanting to work on their educational aspects, it's usually for children who aren't where they need to be and they're trying to get into kindergarten or they're trying to get into that next grade level, or parents are concerned that their child's not developmentally where they need to be when it comes to cognitive thinking and things like that. Some of the things that we work on with them, writing, tracing, cutting scissors, tying their shoes, just things that you need to be able to learn at a young age to basically make it through the rest of your school and the rest of your life, obviously. So we don't want to sit children down and make them just write their name over and over 50 times. That's boring. They're not going to want to participate in that. So one way that I have found interesting, I actually finished my pathway when I was in high school in my child care classes. So we would get to go into the preschool that was in our school, and I would work with a child. I remember this one child I worked with couldn't write her name. She just couldn't do it. So instead of sitting there and making her trace her name and write it over and over again, I took it beyond that. And I got a piece of construction paper and I traced out her name in glue. I gave her pom-poms, buttons, glitter, all kinds of fun stuff, and I just let her trace her name out. I made sure she stayed on the line, and I just helped her be able to write her name in a more fun way, and that got her interested when she got to use fun things instead of just a marker and a piece of paper. Let her actually get in there herself and have fun. As for like cutting skills, we would cut out shapes that she liked. There were online printables that we could use to help her cut out different line shapes and forms. And that's just something that is super easy. That's one of the easiest things you can do, is just use your creative thinking to make up something like that instead of just letting them trace over and over again. Go online, get printables. There's tons of activities that people offer for free, some that you can even think up of yourself, and you can believe, oh, how did I even not think of that? So that's one way that you can get those educational aspects, but in a creative, more fun way instead of being boring. So the second thing I want to talk about is sensory touch. Here's a picture of a sensory table. We'll talk about that in just a second. But anyway, sensory is the feeling of, touching with your hands, really. It works on your fine motor, obviously, and it also works on your problem-solving skills and your teamwork skills. Now, I've used there are tons of tables. Tables are usually the things that people use most. A sandbox is a sensory table. You're feeling things, you're playing with toys. But one that I like a lot is a water table. And at this camp that I went to, we took the children outside and we took a water table out there, and we purposefully took 2 scrubbing brushes to wash off vegetables. We had a farm-themed day. We took 2 scrubbing brushes out there, and we purposefully put 3 children to a table at a time. So that way the children knew that they had to figure out a way to share. So they had to work together and figure out how they were going to all share and how they were going to communicate. So this is one way to really get your children to interact, as well as use their skills to, brush and everything. But this is more like a teamwork type deal. But anyway, sensory is just more fun because children get to interactively go and touch and feel, and they get to talk about what they feel, and they get to just kind of work on a variety of things, like I said, fine motor, communication, problem solving. This is a much more kinesthetic way to be able to learn. A lot of kids like that at that young age, to be able to touch and feel and interact. So the last one that I want to talk about is one that I have not yet tried, but people are talking about it all in the world of occupational therapy, and I really want to get into it. So I did some research. This is animal-assisted therapy. It's the act of bringing in an animal to a therapy session to boost performance. I found this on Pause for People. It's an organization that's really pushing animal-assisted therapy into hospitals and homes and schools, things like that. Some of the benefits of this, it encourages communication, which is really good. It reduces boredom, which is what we want. It decreases feelings of isolation and alienation. The children focus way better, and actually petting and touching the dog releases an automatic relaxing response. Animal-assisted therapy is great because children can come in kind of feeling anxious or nervous about their therapy session that day, and if we bring in like a dog, they'll love it. They'll automatically want to go into it. It really just helps them relieve stress, and the child will be a lot more willing to work. You just have to you have to put a limit to where the child won't want to be all over the dog, and the dog can just help. That obviously can't be used every single session. The child will just look forward to that, and you can't promise that dog is going to be there every time. But anyway, so those are some just examples of things that I wanted to suggest for making child therapy more fun. It's very important to obviously the child most importantly the child, because the child is getting skills that they need for the rest of their life or to get better. But it's also affecting parents who are paying for their child to come. It's affecting us, and if we can't get the child to focus, we're not going to be able to teach to do what we love to do. The child won't be able to develop, and the parents aren't getting anything for their child. So it's we have to find ways that are going to keep the child interested, so the child will want to come back. They'll have fun, and they'll want to participate. So here's my visual. If you can't really see, here's some pictures of me at my camp. Kind of hard to see there. But anyway, I love working with those kids. It was great. And also, I'm not sure if you can see, but here is my works cited. All right. Thanks, guys.